as a direct threat to the exercise of the Islamic faith. If enacted, the bill's vague provisions obstruct the fulfillment of the 5 pillars of Islam, specifically Salah, Zakah, Sawm, and Hajj. Salah means prayer, Zakah means almsgiving, Sawm means fasting the month of Ramadan, and Hajj means the pilgrimage to the holy place, alongside the Sunnah practice of Sadaqah. And also it may jeopardize those people who give Sadaqah, which is charity. By imposing these restrictions, the bill violates Article 29 of the Ugandan Constitution, which guarantees the freedom of religion and worship. We call upon the legislature to revise these measures to ensure they do not infringe upon the fundamental rights of the Muslim community in Uganda and outside. Summary of the concerns, of the key concerns. Number one, constitutional violation, Article 29, 1C. The bill directly infringes upon the constitutional guaranteed right to freedom of worship. Two, obstruction of the Islamic pillars. The proposed legislation creates security-led red tape that hinders the practice of Salah, Zakah, Hajj, and Ramadan. Three, unfair labeling of foreigner agents. Charitable institutions, recipients, beneficiaries, tedious process of registration. Number four, unrealistic financial constraints. The limit of 20,000 currency points, Uganda shillings approximately, funding per year without approval from the minister is unrealistic, and a penalty of 4 billion attached to it. This will affect progress of Muslim projects in the country, including the maintenance of the National Mosque itself. As you are aware, this parliament, some few months back, you passed some assistance to this place. 5, criminalization of religious guidance by labeling or services economic sabotage. The bill risks criminalizing religious leaders for providing essential moral and dietary guidance to the faithful. Those 5 areas. So we got 3. The impact of the bill on Muslim faith. Salah or prayer and the maintenance of mosques. Salah is the second pillar of Islam. Practice daily in congregation. Islamic tradition teaches that a person is rewarded for every step taken walking to a mosque for prayers, and that Allah builds a house in the paradise for a person who builds the mosque. Mosques are Allah's houses where faith is strengthened, morals inculcated in our lives, souls are refined, and citizens encouraged to desist from social evil such as corruption, theft of public resources, and providing unjust leadership. The role of foreign support. It is a matter of public record that the Muslim community in Uganda relies heavily on foreign donors to construct mosques and provide water sources for ablution, which all benefit the wider community. Our national mosque at Wadi Kampala stands as a premier testament to this global solidarity. Its construction and ongoing maintenance have been sustained by conditions. In contrast, the only notable local support recorded is the 2.5 billion provided to the Ugandan Muslim Council in 2023 for constitutional review and elections, and the allocation of 14 billion to settle one Chawazi Day as a result of court battle that had led the attachment and auctioning of the national mosque. Legislative constraints and concerns. The proposed bill threatens this religious foundation through several restrictive and measures. Number one, financial. Clause 22. The bill imposes a strict annual cap of 400 million on a foreign funding without written ministerial approval. This limit is insufficient for the construction of a modern mosque and the maintenance of a large-scale institution like a national mosque. Apart from that, when you look at this amount of money they are talking about, one of these organizations listed here, I don't know whether we have an entity from Kayunga here. We are constructing a fully fledged ward for sickle cell people because they are being treated on a street in that hospital. And its cost is over 400 million, including functioning, putting everything there in. So when you restrict us to only 400 million in a year, it means we shall do one project or we shall fail through that project, even when it's of a national interest. Kayunga Hospital, I don't think, is for the Muslim community. Number two of that example, we do, some of you in your own constituency, we have provided water, power motorized water, solar water. I don't know whether we have an MP from Kajara here. In my former school called Chitunga High School, where I went, ever since I was there in the 70s, up to recently, their problem was water. One of the organizations represented here, through foreign funding, we constructed a waterway which provides 6,000 liters of water per hour. The moment you restrict us from doing charity, you are impinging on our faith. So that is number two. Stigmatization and red tape clause 15 and 16.
Imam, yes, information to you. In the constituency of the chairman here,
we have a school.
The chairman here, his constituency. You constructed this.
Yes, even in Cameroon,
and the Zamukwe is where the animals of Gulu Katundu comes from. These all are beneficiaries here.
That's why Katundu restricted himself because he knows. Now, we move on. I can give many examples, but because of time, let me stop on this one. Because I'm very certain that we have been to the whole of this country, and recently I've been in Karamoja, and we are going to provide a school, a same school actually in Karamoja, because I was astonished. A group of about 30 school-going children, when I met them in their village, in Kangole, and I greeted them simply, how are you? None of them replied. When I asked why, they said, we don't know school. And the school is 10 kilometers from here, we can't go to school. So we offered to put the structure for the school, and I will be to Karamoja maybe next week to converse on this one. Okay. Let me speak in the microphone. Stigmatization and red tape, clause 15 and 16, by requiring any entity or person receiving foreign support to register as a foreign agent under the Department of Peace and Security. The bill risks unfairly labeling mosques, leaders, and religious institutions as agents of foreign powers. And sometimes, when we read it plainly, I have been following ever since we started this committee work. I listened to the Attorney General, and he said, you know, the Attorney General, who is a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. He's also teacher at the school of law. Despite that, I'm not a lawyer for 3 consecutive years. And the biggest school of law in this country. So he said, is it presuming that somebody is going to commit what? And he said, if you see you can remove it. Then I realized how many laws, for example, public order management that if you want to organize anything, they inform the police. But the police, out of fear, thinking that they are respecting their leaders, they say that we must ask permission. So that's why we are worried. Like interpretation of this by auxiliary implementers who are full of fear, confusing it to be respect, may cause problems to the people of Uganda under this bill. Three, security.
I request you, Imam, to stick to your
security-led interference. These clauses will stifle the maintenance of our holy sites, entangling religious institutions in security-led red tape simply for receiving donations intended for worship and community service. Number two, in Zakah, Zakah is the and the mandatory obligation for wealth, whether they are in the world to give a specified portion of their assets, cash, livestock, produce, or materials to those in need. The Holy Quran, chapter 9, verse 6, which says, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. For easy tension, this explicitly says that sadaqah or zakah is for the poor, is for the needy, those who work in it, the wayfarers, those in debt, those who are sick, blah, 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 each category. So if supposing a rich man in the Muslim world wants to give all his zakat to Uganda, and it is above 400 million shillings, what happens? Because it's the portion of his wealth. Therefore, that's why you think that if in Interview 2006 threatens, scrutinize, and obstruct this mandatory act of faith through the following. Number one, registration and ministerial control, which is part 3 of that clause, that makes it for all recipients of Zakah to reach age cleaner. Minister should effectively giving the government the authority from receiving Zakah. 2, balance permission in social welfare or infrastructure activities with cabinet approval includes Ramadan and community feeding. Ramadan is the fourth pillar of Islam, observed annually during the month of Ramadan. Muslims are encouraged to feed the needy within rewards promised to those who provide items for others to break their habit. Equivalent to 1.5 billion Uganda shillings. Now they want to restrict that. with a lot of food and others. So there are effective constraints and concerns over this fact. Leader. Bill provides for the forfeit of assets, and this one, even if I don't repeat, I have already said it, but above all, the fine it puts there. They are restricting you from receiving 400 million. So, I am inclined to think that somebody who did this is Hercules. Number two, risk property. Under these vague definitions, mosque property could be confiscated in foreigner-sponsored feeding programs. Three, restrictions on policy and provision. Provisions prohibiting individuals from carrying out activities that overlap with government policy. Analysts authorized may prevent the distribution of food and essential items, hindering followers across the country from breaking their fast according to Islamic tradition. Number four, privilege. Hajj. Hajj is the fifth pillar of Islam, an obligation to be fulfilled at least once in a lifetime. For it, not to afford the journey. Notably, even once the president has recently been a beneficiary of such a method of sponsorship, which have helped many fulfill their Hajj. You are all aware that the government of Sudan during the time of Bashir gave Uganda, the president of Uganda, money. So, legislative constraints and concerns. While the bill exempts expansion of the term foreigner, clause 1. The bill defines foreigners to include Ugandans living in the diaspora. A Ugandan in the UAE or United Kingdom sponsoring a relative for Hajj could trigger foreigner agent and pilgrims. Muslims traveling abroad for Hajj or religious studies risk being categorized as foreigners simply for being outside the country for the unspecified period. And you know, the bill does not specify the time to be called a foreigner. In one day, you may qualify. This will inevitably constrain ordinary citizens from accessing the international support necessary for giving. And Sadaqah is a fundamental Islamic emphasized in the Holy Quran and Sunnah. As a matter of fact, the Quran
okyali ku Kanoni Media Uganda bigenda maaso okutuusako ebigenda maaso mu Paliamenti mu lukiiko olukulu
as relied on global Sadaqah to educate vulnerable children, build schools, water sources, and support hospitals. This charity transcends religion, For example, Islamic organizations have constructed a boreholes in Katakwe, home of the Vice President, and Bukedea, home of the Speaker of Parliament. The Islamic University in Uganda secured a $13.5 million from Islamic Development Bank to establish a faculty of engineering in addition to other donations Sadaka to Ugandans. Therefore, we are concerned because we are aware that many of us, including myself, I am a beneficiary of the Rockefeller Foundation. When I was doing my master's degree, you are beneficiaries. And on that side, I see many of you who have benefited from the Australian scholarship scheme. You see, I know some of you recommend the past. I know. It is with that background, Mr. Chairman, that we are concerned who seek to improve the community's welfare. Some of the programs already mentioned in the previous presentation